Biggest challenge I faced living on my own was living in this complex where you're at and dealing with the landlord. I'm sure you'll notice the same things that I did when I was around here, but you get used to it eventually. But at first, it's a pain to deal with. So yeah, I'd say that's probably my biggest challenge was that.
The hardest part for me was probably not having a fresh cooked meal every evening.
So probably like for everyone else, the biggest challenge for me was cooking. I think, yeah, that's probably it. So anything beyond spaghetti was difficult, but I think that changed a bit. At the moment, I'm facing a lot of challenges living in the States on my own for the first time, but that's an entirely different chapter.
The biggest challenge was living in a tiny room with a stranger.
When I went away to college, and this was a big deal for me. I lived in a rather small town, and I was going away to a rather large university, so it was scary learning how to study and go to school, and a totally different climate away from home and everything. So it was a big deal for me.
Well, my biggest challenge living on my own for the first time was cooking, because when I lived with my parents, my mom mostly cooked, and yeah, that was my biggest challenge.
The biggest challenge I faced when I moved out on my own for the first time was having to live with roommates who may not have had the same upbringing as I did, and trying to negotiate that as far as bills and housekeeping or lack thereof. And yeah, I would say that was probably the hardest part, was finding a roommate that you literally, could live with for a year or two.
Okay, the biggest challenge living on my own was sharing a space with someone I didn't know, who ended up being my best friend though. Not having good living arrangements and being in a bunk bed, and having to manage my time between cleaning and laundry and homework and stuff like that without my parents telling me to.
The biggest issues that I had to deal with were getting all of the things that go in an apartment, like bedding, pillows, blankets, sheets, bedspreads, and kitchen stuff like pots and pans and can openers and cleaning stuff. So that was kind of a shock.
Learning how to deal with things on my own, challenges on my own. Yeah, that was probably it.
The biggest challenge I faced living on my own my first year was eating healthy food, because I was stuck with the dorm food.